Hello, my name is Steve, and in addition to my goal of finding the world's best performing anchors, I also like to test specialty anchors, and today we're going to look at these two Northill anchors. Northill anchors were developed for use in seaplanes, and they collapse. The galvanized version that I have, it only collapses in one direction, as in the stock, it sort of slides up out of the way and gets fairly small. But this new stainless steel anchor that I have, it collapses not only the stocks, but also the flukes. They fold up. And this is a quite a bit larger dimensioned anchor, but it actually weighs less. It's 11 pounds, whereas the galvanized model is 14 pounds. Okay, we are in my standard sandy mud bottom. It's about 30 feet of water, 150 feet of road. Scope is 5 to 1. This is a combination road. It's 12 feet of 5/16 galvanized chain. The balance is 9/16 nylon 3-strand. These Northill anchors tend to set real quickly, and I believe they can penetrate a fair amount of weed, but they do have a couple of inherent problems. And one is that lazy fluke, the one that's sticking up at us, that's always vulnerable to being tangled by the road in the event the boat swings around. The other problem is the stock, which is that horizontal section. That's going to have a really hard time being buried. And indeed, we saw there that the stock did not bury. In fact, I don't think it even penetrated down to where it was pushing on the seabed at all. But in any event, this anchor released at 162 pounds of thrust, and frankly, I was expecting more from it. I'll go ahead and retest it just to make sure, but no, that wasn't very good. Additionally, we saw that it did not reset. Here, I stopped the motion and then restarted motion, and no, it will not reset. So I think we've got mud fouling going on. I'm going to give it another try here and see if we get a different result. Once again, we get an immediate initial set. Anchor has a tendency to not creep. It stays put, and then, boy, once it starts to let go, it just let goes all of a sudden. So note that stock, or the horizontal crossbar, has not descended into the seabed, and for that matter, neither has the shank. So we've gone past the other pull we did. We've gone past 160 pounds. We're up to 220 something, and that's better. Well, once it starts to go, it releases completely. And same story as the previous pull. Once released, it was mud fouled and would not reset. £14 Northill, 5 to 1 scope, deep set sandy mud. So I wanted to get an idea how the smaller dimensioned but heavier weight galvanized steel version of the Northill performed. I've edited out much of this just to keep the video a decent length, but it behaved very similar to the stainless steel version. It held the same. It was holding pretty good at 160 pounds, and then at 220 or so, it did creep forward and release. Note that the crossbar, or the stock, is fully buried, and it's actually plowing along some seabed, so I think the stock in this case is actually helping with holding power. That probably explains why it held the same as the other, even though the fluke is quite a bit smaller. But like the stainless version, it did become mud-fouled and did not reset even after the boat came to a complete stop. So I've got the galvanized anchor stacked on top of the stainless so that you can see the difference in the size of the flukes. I haven't done the measurements, but it looks like about double, twice as much fluke area for the stainless anchor. Notice on the left there, the fluke of that galvanized version has sort of a spine, sort of sticking up, whereas the fluke of the stainless version, it's reinforced with sort of a valley. And what I noticed on retrieval both times with that anchor is that the mud was jammed into that valley, and it actually took my finger quite a bit of sort of digging to get it clear. So my thought is, hey, maybe if we can make that valley go away, maybe this anchor will not collect as much mud and might even perform better. So rather than modify the anchor permanently, I just used some foam to fill in the valley, and then I have a roll of that heavy aluminum self-adhesive sheet metal. In any event, that was an easy mod, and, well, here we are. We'll see how it works. Initial set's the same as in instantaneous. Remember, in the unmodified condition, virtually none of the stock and none of the shank became buried, so let's keep an eye on that. I think the anchor's got a little bit of a list. We can see there on the right that the stock is buried, and some of the shank might be coming buried. Anchor is creeping along, but it seems to be descending and going deeper. So that's always a fair trade in my book. If an anchor keeps moving but keeps penetrating downward, that means it's generating more and more holding power. And indeed, now even the left side of the stock is becoming buried, and all of the shank is buried. And we've far exceeded the holding power in that unmodified condition. And in fact, I'm going to say it's almost twice as much holding power as before, just by the application of that aluminum sheet over that valley on the fluke. And I did this test twice. I won't show it to you, but it repeated the result. And I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye out for some thin stainless steel sheet, and I will when I find some, I'll probably permanently affix it to the fluke. To me, that's a clear advantage. Even if I end up increasing the weight a few pounds, that'd be fine. I don't fly a seaplane anymore, so I don't need a extremely light anchor. It does appear that there is a little bit of mud still attached because the anchor will not reset readily. And I I think at some point it does reset as I stop and I'm pulling the anchor in. It is upright and no longer moving, but clearly there's still something going on with some mud. But I think this test here isn't really about Northill anchors so much as it's about the fact that mud fouling or mud adhesion isn't just about resetting. It's about ultimate holding power. I think I've shown here and in other anchor tests that mud adhering to flukes really isn't a factor on an anchor's holding power. Okay, that's all I got for the Northill and that modification. Pretty interesting stuff once again with this mud fouling issue, and I'll keep digging into that. I don't really like to modify anchors permanently unless I see something really glaringly wrong, but I have no trouble with these temporary mods, and if I find other anchors that can benefit from that kind of thing, I'll certainly do it. Okay, be sure and stay tuned because I got some interesting stuff coming up. I've developed 2 new test protocols, and those will be the next couple videos. One is tandem anchoring. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I finally got my act together, and I've conducted tandem anchor testing. 2 cameras, 1 camera on each anchor, 1 rode, pull and veer testing, and it's all pretty interesting. The other test that I've done is just veer testing with single anchors, and I'm letting the boat while it's under power and producing lots of thrust, I just turn the motor just a little bit, therefore creating a vector of thrust to one side, and I let the boat swing 180, sometimes 360 degrees all around, camera looking down at the anchor the whole time. And I'm in the process of trying to refilm all the anchors under that veering test. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. We'll see you soon. So long.